Hi students, I hope all of you had good health. So today we will be having our next revision video lesson on physical and chemical changes. Now we need to classify the following into physical and chemical change, and we need to give a proper scientific reason to support our answer. Now here are few pictures which are given over here. Now you have to analyze which one is the physical change and which one is the chemical change, and you need to give a proper explanation to it. So the diagram which is shown over here, it shows the formation of cloud by means of water cycle. Now formation of cloud, is it a physical change or is it a chemical change? So let us begin. Now it is a physical change. Why it is a physical change? Let us explain. Now what happens? The water in the liquid state, which is found in the water bodies like lake, ocean, river, pond, and so on, due to evaporation, this slowly gets converted into its vapor state. Now what is evaporation, which I explained you last day? It is the conversion of water to water vapor below the boiling point. And after formation of the cloud, what happens? It condenses and again forms the rain, which is again the liquid state. When water from the water bodies was converted into water vapor, we find that during this process, no new substances are formed, which is one of the vital and most important point for a physical change, because the water molecule was present in this water bodies in the liquid state. And again, when we consider the cloud, it is nothing but the vapor state of the same molecule of water, which when condensed again comes down as rain, which is the liquid state of water. That means over here, no new substance is formed and condition can be reversed by simply reversing the condition. Like over here, by a small application of heat energy, liquid can be converted to vapor state. Similarly, vapor can again be converted into liquid state by reducing or cooling down the temperature. That is why it is a physical change. Next is mixing of oil with water. Is it a physical change or is it a chemical change? Now what happens while we mix oil with water, after keeping it for some time, we will see that oil being lighter, it settles on the upper surface of liquid, and the water being heavier, it settles below the oil. So over here we see that no new substances are formed in the process, and by simple process of decantation, it's a physical process, we can simply pour out this oil and make, or rather we can get back the water in its original state. That means we can also get back the original components by reversing the condition. That is why it is a physical change. Next, popping of a balloon. Now, balloon is a flexible bag-like structure which can hold air in it or any gas in it. Now, when we blow air into it, it starts swelling or inflated. It becomes inflated. Now, what happens when we use a pin and just touch this inflated, highly inflated balloon, what happens? The balloon bursts and the excess air comes out. That means over here, no new substance is formed, because at the beginning of the experiment, there was what? There was air along with the molecules which formed the outer surface of balloon, and after bursting the balloon we see the air comes out and the balloon in its constricted form along with the molecules which form the wall of the balloon is again regained back. That means the main answer over here is no new substance is formed, though we cannot get back the original condition by reversing the conditions. But the main criteria is no new substances are formed. That is why popping of balloon is a physical change. Next is passing of electric current through a heater. Now what happens? When we switch on the switches that connects this electric heater, then electric current starts passing through this wire and gets converted into heat energy. And when we put this machine inside water, the water becomes hot. And again, when after usage, we switch off the switches, again the electric heater becomes cool and remains as it is. That means the main criteria over here is no new substance is formed in the process. That is why it is a physical change. Next is melting of wax a physical change or a chemical change? And the answer to the condition is yes, it's a physical change. Okay? Why is it a physical change? Melting of wax. Remember students, I have not said burning of candle. I just said melting of wax. That means after heating the by burning the candle, the wax that is being melted, I am talking about that. So over here, what happens on burning due to absorption of heat energy, this solid candle gets converted into liquid wax. And again, when we start when this wax comes in contact with a cold surface like a table surface or some other substance, it on reducing the temperature, what happens? It again solidifies to form the solid wax again. That means here no new substances are formed and the original substance can be regained back by reversing the conditions. That is why melting of wax is a physical change. Next students, do we consider breaking of bottle or glassware a physical change? A big confusion to this. Let us now analyze whether it's a chemical change or is it a physical change. Now students, when a glass bottle or glassware breaks, what do you see? You see small pieces of broken glassware or bottle around you. Now, do you find that instead of glass pieces, there is something which is completely different? Like, do you get any metal pieces? Do you get some other kind of pieces? No, students, you don't get it. You will see, or if you analyze properly, you will see that the glass which was making up the whole bottle is the same one which is found in the pieces of bottle, glass bottle or glassware. That means the main point over here is no new substances is formed, cannot be formed. So that is why over here, since the same molecule is making up this bottle and same molecule is found in these pieces, the change over here is a physical change. I repeat, the main criteria we are taking over here is no new substances are formed. Though by reversing the conditions, we are not getting back the original substances, but the main and foremost criteria for being physical or chemical change is that in physical change, no new substances are formed. That means no change in chemical composition occurs. Physical composition or physical state may change, as we see in the first case, that water was converted into water vapor, that may occur. But change in chemical composition does not occur. That is why we will be taking the first point, that no new substances are formed. Next, these are daily phenomena which we see, students. That is, all of us, one time or the other, due to some purpose, we sharpen our pencil. And what do we get from there, students? We simply get scrapings which are made up of this wood. Please see, students, the scrapings you can see over here. Do you find some new things within the scrapings? Though there is change in shape, as we can see, students, but over here, the molecules which was making up, or component which was making up this pencil, that is the wood, is the same which is found within the scraping. That is, the molecules of wood is only present within the scraping. And since no new substances are formed in the process, that is why it is a physical change. Though the condition cannot be reversed over here, but as I said you all, that we are going to take the first and foremost criteria over here, that no new substances are formed. That is why sharpening of pencil is a physical change. Next is cutting of wood. Is it a physical change or is it a chemical change? Now, when we use this cutter to cut a piece of wood or log of wood into innumerable pieces, though the state or appearance of the wood changes, that is, even if we try to make something new from this wood, like if we try to make doors, if we try to make some furniture from this cut pieces of wood, even that would also be a physical change. Why physical change, students? Because the component or molecule which form this log of wood is same as that of found in the pieces of wood or in the furniture which we are making. That is why cutting of wood is definitely a physical change. Next is tearing of paper a physical change? Yes, it's a physical change. Why, students? Because we may tear the page. The page may not appear the same as it was before. Even by tearing it apart into many pieces, we will be getting innumerable pieces of paper. But what is happening over here is no new substances will be formed in the process. That is, the pieces of paper will be made up of the same molecule which is forming the main sheet of paper before cutting. That is why it is a physical change. Next is, we often heard about the process of fermentation, right? Now, what is fermentation, students? It is simply the microorganism that act upon the sugar. As you can see on the left hand side, the picture is showing sugar. This sugar will be acted upon by microorganism, which will simply act on it anaerobically and will produce alcohol. Now, what happens during this process? What we see is a new substance is formed. As you can see, the state, the physical appearance, everything has changed. But alcohol and sugar are completely new thing. That means over here we see that new substance called alcohol is formed in the process. Though the application of sugar and alcohol are completely different, but the main thing is over here is that a new substance is formed from sugar. And even if we try to uh, regain back the sugar in the process, that is reactant in the process, if we try to regain it back by reversing the condition, we will not get back sugar from alcohol. This is why fermentation of sugar to form alcohol is a chemical change. It's not a physical change. Next is rusting of iron. It's a very common phenomena which we come across in our daily life. Now, rusting, as you can see the picture which is shown above, they are of simple unrusted nail. Now, when nail comes in contact with water and air, it forms a reddish brown structure above the nails, and after that the nails remains uh, worthless to be used. Now, this is known as rusting. Now, even if we try to get back the original nails from this rusted nails, we will not get back it. That is, firstly, we will not get back the original substance. And second is, as you can see in the picture which is given below, that iron is made up of molecule of iron. But when it starts reacting with water, as you can see the blue color molecules are seen over here. Now on iron reacting with this, on reacting, it forms a complete new molecule, that is iron oxide. And that is why the color has also changed. That means a new substance is formed in this process. And this is due to the chemical reaction between iron with water and oxygen. That is why we see that since a new substance is formed in the process, that is why rusting of iron is a chemical change. And over here, we cannot reverse the condition and get back the original components. This is how rusting of iron is a chemical change. Next is burning of wood. Now, in the previous case, we saw that wood was cut into many pieces and it was utilized for forming furnitures and many more things. But in all those cases, no new substances were formed. But over here, when we take the same piece of wood and try to burn it, what happens? First of all, new substance called wood charcoal or ash is formed. Okay? This is a completely new substance. And next is, it is associated with change in mass. First of all, now when we try, if we just go through an experiment and we try to measure the piece of wood before burning and the amount of or mass of ashes which is produced after burning in a weighing balance, we will see that there is a reduction in the mass. Okay? Now, why this mass changes occur? Because wood is mainly composed of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Now, when we are burning wood, it forms carbon dioxide and water vapor. A mass of it forms carbon dioxide and water vapor. Now, during the process of burning, this carbon dioxide and water vapor, it gets released into the atmosphere. And what is left behind is the solid component, that is ash or wood charcoal. That means carbon dioxide and water vapor being gaseous, they are being removed into the environment. Whereas ash and wood charcoal being solid, it remains back. That is why we see there is a change in mass. Whereas in case of physical change, there is no change of mass seen. Next, over here, an enormous heat energy is associated. An enormous heat energy and light energy is formed. Okay? Like in physical change, though it may be associated with change in energy also, but it is a very small in amount. But in chemical change, there is a large amount of change in the heat energy which is involved in the process, which can be seen over here. And even if we try to reverse the condition, and also by reversing the condition, we cannot get back the original component, that is the wood. That is why burning of wood is a chemical change. Next is separation of hydrogen and oxygen from water. Is it a physical change or a chemical change? Now let us see what happens. The left hand side picture shows you the drop of rain, which consists of water molecules, that is in the form of H2O. Now when you start separating this H2O by the process of electrolysis and you get back these two gases in the form of oxygen and hydrogen, if you just simply put it in separate container or cylinder, you will see that it does not consist of, and over here reactants cannot be regained back by simple physical means. Now, the new substance hydrogen and oxygen which is formed from water H2O, though it appears that in the formula H2O both hydrogen and oxygen is there, but why then it is not a physical change? This is because hydrogen and oxygen has properties completely different from that of the molecule water. That means over here, a complete new substance, hydrogen and oxygen, is formed, and therefore it's a chemical change. Now, digestion. As you can see, the tasty food is displayed on the screen. I hope all of you like this also, students. That is why I have displayed it on the screen. Now see, students, uh, this food, when we intake, after digestion, what happens? They formed They forms body components like glucose, amino acid, and fatty acid glycerol. You have already learned this. Okay, after assimilation, digestion process is always followed by the process of assimilation. That means after digestion, the new components are formed, that is glucose, amino acid, and fatty acid. This component was not found in the original food as such. That means in the process, new substances are formed, firstly. Secondly, on reversing back the condition, we will not get back the original food. And that is why it is a chemical change. Next is, we will state our observation when the following phenomena occurs. What do you observe when a piece of paper is burnt? Now what happens, dear students? When a piece of paper burns, as you can see in the picture, that slowly but steadily the piece of paper is turning into ashes, and carbon dioxide is also liberated in the process along with evolution of heat and light energy. So when a piece of paper is burnt, it produces carbon dioxide and ash is left behind this process after this process occurs. Next, what happens when a lighted matchstick is brought near the mouth of the test tube containing the hydrogen gas? What happens when a matchstick is brought near the mouth of a test tube containing hydrogen gas? The gas burns with a blue flame. Yes, dear students, it burns with a blue flame and a pop sound is heard. Now, this pop sound is a characteristic feature of hydrogen gas being burning. That means it is also a chemical change which is associated over here by change in the sound. Now this energy is liberated as heat energy, sound energy also. Next is, what happens when a quicklime is dissolved in water? Now when quicklime is added to water, as you can see in the picture, students, first of all, the water starts boiling. Now, why the water starts boiling? This is because the reaction is exothermic one. Exothermic means it releases heat energy. Now that energy which is released makes the water to boil, and it is often associated with production of a hissing sound. Like what happens when water being absorbed within this calcium hydroxide, it produces a hissing sound. That is why quicklime dissolved in water produces a hissing sound, and also the water starts boiling. And in this process, lime water is also obtained. Next, what happens when a little amount of curd is added to a bowl containing warm milk and kept for 5 hours? Now students, as you can see, the picture which is given below, it consists of milk. Now when we have already added a spoonful of curd within that milk, instantly the microorganism which was present within that curd starts reacting with the milk, especially the sugar present in the milk, that is the lactose sugar. Okay. Now due to that enzymatic activity, the entire milk turns into curd. Now, since we cannot reverse the condition and get back the original things, that is why it is both a permanent change and is definitely a chemical change too. Now, a very common and good example, though I have shown you a picture of apple over here, this phenomena is also seen in case of a cut potato. Now students, what happens when you keep a cut slice of apple open in the air, the color turns brown. As you can see, the right hand side picture is the fresh apples one, and the left hand side apple is the picture after few minutes or hours when the apple is kept open in the air. Now what happens that results in formation of this brown color? Actually, when a cut apple is kept in open air, it turns brown, and this is due to the reaction with oxygen that triggers an enzymatic action in apple and results in turning the apple into this brown color. Okay, now even if you try to wash the apple, this brown color will not go. That means the color change associated over with this phenomena is a permanent one, and also this is an example of chemical reaction too, chemical change too. That is why cut apple should not be left open in air for too long, and this is the scientific reason behind it, that why it turns brown, and this is also an example of chemical change. Thank you students. I hope you have understood today's lesson well. Go through the video so that you can ask me any doubt regarding the chapter and regarding the video lesson which you will be facing. I will clarify you all. Have a nice day.